question is, how do we get addicted to something like caffeine? Why do we go through withdrawals? Why is this okay? Like, what? Let's talk about coffee. 90 degrees. I am not drinking hot coffee. Better. Metal straw. Save the turtles. We're actually not talking about coffee as much as we are about caffeine. More importantly, our addiction to caffeine. 75 to 80% of everybody ever in the world drinks a caffeinated drink at least once a day. Because we drink it so much, it becomes part of our routine, and then we acquire what scientists call a caffeine dependency. Really just a cute little name for addiction. How do we get addicted to caffeine? First, talk about how caffeine works. Caffeine, as a molecule, looks nearly identical to another molecule that our brain already has, called adenosine. It's so identical that our brain usually can't tell the difference between the two. To me, it's kind of concerning. Our brain has these little cell receptors specifically for adenosine to come park itself in, really like a parking spot. This spot is reserved for adenosine, times 5,000. Because caffeine looks so similar, it can park itself in the adenosine parking spot without our brain raising any red flags. An adenosine molecule gets into its own parking spot, it signals the brain the act of tiredness. So when you park something else there, like caffeine, it blocks the ability for the brain to feel tired. Caffeine now taking up all of adenosine's parking spots in the lot, you have a whole bunch of adenosine just swirling around, roaming in your brain. Brain then realizes that you've got a whole bunch of extra adenosine just float. Excuse me. I'm trying to record. All right, well. Brain realizes the extra adenosine and then sends out adrenaline in response. And then that adrenaline then trickles dopamine, which is what's responsible for your happy feeling. That explains why when you drink coffee, you feel less tired, you get a kick of energy, your mood boosts, and you feel overall just a general less murderous behavior and thoughts. What happens when we drink too much coffee? Notices that there's constantly extra adenosine just floating around. So what it thinks is, oh shit, I need more parking spots. Say you started with 5 adenosine parking spots in your brain. Drink a cup of coffee, same one you have every morning. Those 5 spots get immediately filled up with caffeine and you are ready to go. If that keeps happening day in and day out, your brain is gonna notice, 5 parking spots, clearly not enough if we have all this extra adenosine just floating about willy-nilly. Let me build more parking spots. Now your brain has 8 adenosine parking spots, but your 1 cup of coffee is only gonna fill up 5 of those. The other 3 that are still empty are gonna get filled up with adenosine unless you add more caffeine, which means that your 1 cup of coffee that used to make you not tired, no problem, is not enough anymore because now you get tired because your brain adapted to your caffeine intake. Okay, so now let's say you've built this tolerance and now you have 8 parking spots and one day you decide not to drink a cup of coffee. Bet your bottom dollar that all 8 of those parking spots are getting filled with adenosine and you're gonna have a shitty day. The concept of caffeine physically blocking our brain's ability to feel tired explains perfectly that feeling that when you're trying to fall asleep but you can't, you're so physically exhausted but you can't shut your brain off. It's probably because you had too much caffeine. Symptoms from caffeine when you have a dependency are pretty obvious, like a headache, bad mood, dead boyfriend, you feel foggy throughout the day, things like that. So what have we learned today? All junkies, and Dunkin' Donuts is our drug of choice. Caffeine looks scary similar to a very important molecule in our brain that makes us feel tired. It then makes our brain think that we're not tired, signal adrenaline and dopamine, and start a very dangerous cycle. Too much coffee too often equals excess parking spots, and I don't even have a freaking car, so. All in all, just moderation, people, or you're going to destroy your brain. For realsies. You're gonna drink so much coffee that you have so much adrenaline that you actually think you're having a heart attack at 30. You know who you are. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and follow me on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, but just not in real life because that's stalking and that's weird. Ugh. I will freaking murder you before I have coffee. Not even a question or a second thought, you will be dead.